guys, so this is going to be a frustrating video because I've read through this thing now twice and I'm already extremely frustrated. I have a P.O. box, and if you guys don't already know about that, I will leave a link to it in the description below if you want to send me snail mail. But someone recently sent me this, and I think that they sent it to me because they wanted me to do this video. I'm hoping they didn't send it to me because they wanted me to learn something, because this is killing brain cells, man. This is doing the opposite. These are just a few of the many problems with evolution. Okay, here we go. Oh, God. First one, and I'm already cringing. Human organs could not have evolved. Really? As they needed hundreds of unique features from the beginning in order to function. Okay. So, I think just to clear this up before we even get into more of this, I think that I need to define evolution because I don't think they get it. Evolution is the process by which different kinds of living organisms are thought to have developed and diversified from earlier forms during the history of the Earth. So this is saying that there was a previous model and then the new model emerged via evolution. It's not saying that there was nothing and then all of a sudden, because of evolution, a complex organ formed. Second definition, which is also applicable here, the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. So whenever it says, as they needed hundreds of unique features from the beginning in order to function, that's not true. It was functioning, but maybe not as well as it is now, thanks to evolution. This definition is going to come in handy throughout the rest of this video, so don't forget it. Eyes. Oh, holy shitballs. So this breaks down every single organ, or at least quite a few of them. So let's just get right into it. Eyes. Of course they go to eyes. It's always the first freaking thing they go to. Eyes are incredibly complex organs that require a multitude of electrical and chemical processes to simultaneously take place for us to see. Numerous muscles and tear ducts are in place to keep them constantly moist, protected, and functional. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's blue at the bottom. Now the blue part's where it gets really interesting. Why didn't natural selection drive man to extinction before all light receptor cells were in place, or before the lens developed, since normal protein is not transparent? Darwin himself, oh, I'm cringing. Darwin himself admitted that the human eye seemed to defy his theory of evolution. No, he did not. This is something that I see creationists use all of the time. There is a famous Darwin quote that is taken out of context, and this is what he said. To suppose that the eye could have been formed by natural selection seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest possible degree. Now, with just that alone, you would think that maybe he was saying something along those lines. But you know, that's not the end of the quote. The next part's kind of important. Yet, reason tells me that if numerous gradations from a perfect and complex eye to one very imperfect and simple, each grade being useful to its possessor, can be shown to exist, if further the eye, blah, blah, blah. There is honestly, this is part of a book, there is an entire chapter almost dedicated to him explaining how, in fact, evolution does explain how an eye could have slowly formed. I just get so frustrated whenever I see things misquoted and taken out of context like this. Yes, he said, you know what? By looking at it, on the surface, it may seem kind of absurd that something this intricate could have developed, but reason tells me that it kind of fucking did. I mean, that's basically what he says. So no, Darwin did not himself admit that it defied the theory of evolution. On to the next organ, the heart, which I'm about ready to have a heart attack reading this. Hopefully it still frickin' works by the time I'm done. It is a pump that will operate without maintenance or lubrication for a lifetime. Oh, really? Because I know a lot of people that have not had a functional heart for a lifetime. That's why transplants are a thing. That's why bypasses are a thing. That's why pacemakers are a thing. There is an oily fluid between the heart and the sac so that the heart does not overheat and cause death. So this is talking about the pericardium, and there is a fluid between the pericardium and the heart, and this is so that there is lubrication so that the membranes can glide over each other easily. Yeah, it does reduce friction, which would cause heat, but it's more for the motion of things instead of causing the heart to overheat like it's trying to say here. And then it says in blue, how many hearts would have died from overheating because the sac or the fluid had not yet evolved? Both had to have appeared at the same time and could not have evolved over millions of years. Oh God. Evolution is not saying that this perfect, complete structure just poof appears. Evolution is a gradual, slow process where things slowly change. So of course, if two things are essential to each other and Oftentimes it's millions of things that are essential to each other. One thing changes at a time, or there's a gradual change, or everything changes together slightly until it forms something that's more beneficial than its predecessor. Don't let your heart overheat, guys. Brain. More than 100,000 chemical reactions per second occur within your brain. Blah, 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 blah. Blue part at the bottom. If the heart evolved 5 minutes after the brain, there would be many brain dead people. Both had to appear at the same time, not over millions of years. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna do it right now. I think the person that wrote this had a heart that evolved 5 minutes after the brain because they're close enough to brain dead. And now I am too, thanks. And now you guys are too. You're welcome. If by chance something mutated or changed in a way that did not function with another organ, let's say the heart changed in a way that was not compatible with the brain, that organism would not survive and therefore would not be able to reproduce and pass on this shitty version of itself. Stuff kind of has to work for evolution to be successful. Otherwise, there are no offspring to pass along these new genetics. Liver. This amazing chemical processing facility performs at least blah da 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 da. Observing this harmony, one would be led to conclude that our organs must have been intelligently designed. You know, there are a lot of different organs or vestigial structures or things that you can point to that is evidence against an intelligent design. I mean, human beings are by no means perfect. We have a lot of shit that goes wrong in our body all of the time. If it were so-called intelligently designed, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have today. Dawkins has gone on a long time about the left recurrent laryngeal nerve, specifically in giraffes, that was clearly not intelligently designed as it goes way the fuck out of the way to do something that a very short connection could have done. Oh god, and now we're going on to laws of thermodynamics. The theory of evolution is in direct conflict with 3 major laws of science. Okay, you know the theory of evolution is science. Okay, anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and read this. The first law of thermodynamics. The first and foremost law of physics is that matter and energy can neither be created or destroyed. You know, I love how religious people always pull this shit up, but it never applies to God. He just always was, and we're okay with that. And you do realize that if you're a creationist, saying things can't be created or destroyed is ironic, right? But if God did it, that doesn't apply to this world. Atheists and evolutionists are therefore forced to believe that nothing somehow turned into everything. All right, this is no longer evolution that we're speaking about, but ambiogenesis. And if you are by chance interested in delving into this subject further, I highly recommend you read this, A Universe from Nothing by Lawrence Krauss, where he does talk about how something can in fact come from nothing. So there's that. Human cell. Scientists used to think that a cell was a simple glob of protoplasm, blah, blah, blah. Just like a city takes planning and organizing, so too our not so simple cells needed a planner and organizer. That planner and organizer was God, who ensured that each part was present and working from the beginning. Except for whenever people have, medical conditions where they're not working, but that just happens for a reason. God's mysterious and shit. Mutations. No known mutation has ever produced a form of life having greater complexity and viability than its ancestors. Wrong. That's just flat out wrong. No mutation has ever produced a form of life having greater complexity and viability. Okay, so explain to me antibiotic-resistant bacteria, for example. There have been intensive breeding experiments, and they have all failed to show how even one kind of animal could change into another kind of animal. Evolution is not just one animal exists and then poof, there's another animal. Like, it takes time. Oh, very next sentence, with time. Okay, let's see what this says. With time, creatures actually degenerate by birth defects rather than turning into new types of creatures. What? I mean, if a birth defect is bad enough, they can't reproduce or they die before being able to reproduce. You're not gonna pass that genetic information on. This is really not rocket science. Just basic science. Very, very basic science. Fruit flies and bacteria. Oh God, I can't take much more of this. Evolution has not been observed in decades-long multi-generational studies of bacteria and fruit flies. You could observe evolutionary changes in bacteria like today if you wanted to. I mentioned antibiotic resistant bacteria before. That's why whenever a doctor gives you a prescription for antibiotics, they say please make sure you take all of them, because what you're effectively doing if you don't take all of them is the first few doses kill off the weakest bacteria. The ones that are strongest, that have maybe developed some kind of mutation to withstand the majority of those antibiotics, are going to be the last ones that you kill. So if by the end of your prescription, or by the last few days of needing your prescription, all that you have left are the most resistant bacteria. So if you don't kill those, the next time you get sick, that's what you're gonna have to deal with. They're all gonna be at that higher level of functioning, and this is essentially evolution. The strongest ones that survive are there, and they're the ones that are going to multiply, and then you're gonna have a really bad case of whatever the fuck it was you had to begin with, because now you have all these really strong motherfuckers that are still around. That, my friends, is evolution. Although the experimental results from these studies were given titles with an evolutionary spin, the actual experiments demonstrate undoubtedly that bacteria and fruit flies did not evolve, but that they were created. Oh, I can't do this anymore. There are many dating methods to support a young Earth. Like, I'm gonna have to quit this soon. Like, my brain cells are just pretty fried at this point. God says he created the universe, humans, animals, and all the rest of the things on Earth. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible attributes are clearly seen, so they are without excuse. God's invisible attributes are clearly seen. Invisible. Clearly, you can see them, the invisible things. You see them, right? We cannot earn our way into heaven by being a good person or doing more good deeds than bad. All you gotta do is kiss God's ass. This evolution bullshit is clearly stupid dumb. You should believe in talking snakes and talking donkeys and trees with fruits that cause people to go to hell, because that makes the most sense. Damn it. Creating people out of dirt and women out of ribs, that is the science you should start believing in. Because Jesus. Checkmate, atheists.
What the fuck?
Anyway, I'm done. I'm gonna go drink myself into oblivion now after that, because I need it. So thanks for watching this video. I wore this shirt because I thought it was appropriate for this particular video, and if you like it, you can get it on my website because I sell these. Darwin, yay! So that's at jacquelineglenn.com. I'll have a link in the description. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Thank you to whoever mailed this masterpiece to my P.O. box. Really appreciate it. So thanks. Like this video, share it everywhere. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
That turned out really well.
I hate everything.
So that's the kind of attitude we're looking for.
I certainly don't believe in anything. I feel like I have no morals.